Hey everybody, KC here. So as I record this, the market basket cluster muck up in the Boston area continues. There's warring family members, there's a CEO and the board of directors are at odds, and much of the debate seems to be about succession. So the whole thing blew up a few weeks ago when the board suspended its CEO and an owning family member, Arthur T. Demoulas, alleging that he was planning a work stoppage and that he wanted his children to succeed him when he eventually retired. And the board, on which three of Arthur T. Demoulas' siblings sit, well, they disagreed with that. And now Market Basket seems to be embarked on yet another episode of As the Stomach Churns. But I want to focus on just one element of this story. The fact that Arthur T. Demoulas is 70 years old. Here's the deal, from my perspective. Any company with a CEO who is 70 years old that does not have an unambiguous succession plan, agreed to by the CEO and the board, and with the CEO spending a significant percentage of his time figuring out how that plan is going to work and who his potential successors are, is a company in which somebody's not doing their job. In fact, in this case, maybe nobody's doing their job. I understand the executives and the board may have different opinions, but it's their job to come to some sort of agreement, or somebody's got to go. And if this is the board saying, well, Arthur's got to go, well, they waited a little late, right? Waited a little long. He's 70 years old. The two sides have an ethical and a fiduciary responsibility to figure this thing out. And the fact that it's gone this long makes absolutely no sense. The thing is, we tend to romanticize Market Basket a little bit because of how much devotion and allegiance the staff and the customer base seems to have to existing management. And that's good as far as it goes. Listen, Market Basket is a formidable business. It's the stores it runs, they are beasts and they deserve a lot of respect. But on this issue, they have flunked the test of succession as far as I'm concerned. And this is a test that's critical to the future of the business. Now, I want you to compare this to something else that happened this week. It happened at L.L.Bean, where the CEO and president, Steve Smith, the first external CEO in the history of the company, announced that he will step down from his role in the spring of 2026. That's right. He basically gave the company more than a year's notice of his plans and allowing the board to engage in a considered and nuanced succession process. And listen, if I know Steve, and I do, I'm sure this is something that he has focused on a lot over the years, since he got there a decade ago. You know, Steve's popped up from time to time here on Morning Newsbeat. I've gotten to know him a little bit. I am absolutely sure this is something that he's been focused on. Now, it's interesting. Steve actually got his start in the food business, his retail start in the food business anyway. He started at Hannaford, where he was educated. He and a lot of other people were educated in what I like to call the Ron Hodge School of Retailing. Ron was the longtime CEO there. And out of the company from when he was there came people like Kathy Burns, Shelley Broader, Meg Ham, and a ton of other people who have had illustrious careers in and around the food business. Now, Steve went on to work at a number of the Delhaize banners. Then he went on to be the chief customer officer at Walmart China, chief customer officer and chief marketing officer at Asda when it was owned by Walmart, and SVP at Walmart International. And then he went to L.L.Bean. Not to tell you, Steve's one of the best retailing minds I've ever encountered. He focuses on both strategy and tactics. He's helped create what I think is Bean's very measured and successful approach to both online and brick and mortar retailing. And he understands the importance of culture. I could see that recently when he gave me a tour of Bean's new headquarters in Freeport, Maine. Boy, it is outstanding, and it reflects both the company's passions and its history and its future ambitions. The only thing I don't really understand is why he's retiring. He's got to be at least 15 years younger than I am. But I also know something else. When Steve talks about L.L.Bean, he often refers to the company's core mission. He talks about how we make products that enable people to get outside. I suspect that getting outside, in all its permutations, may play a role in Steve's thinking. He also knows that institutions, in order to continue to grow and to thrive, they need a regular injection of new blood and new energy. He understands that L.L.Bean is bigger than himself. which is apparently something that the CEO and the board at Market Basket haven't figured out yet. Anyway, that's what's on my mind. And as always, I want to hear what's on your mind.